The sight of a truck parked on the side of the highway has never been the same for me since. That night, the sound of a slow engine woke me. It seemed to come from inside my own cab, a subtle hum that pulled me from sleep. It wasn't a dream. This happened to me at a lonely rest stop on Interstate 95 in the dead of winter, 2023. And the smell of diesel still sends shivers down my spine. The feeling of being safe shattered that night. I've been a professional big rig driver for 12 years, and I know the American highways like the back of my hand. I picked up my last load in Chicago on November 15th, bound for Miami, a route I drive at least 3 times a year. I know which truck stops are safer, where there's constant activity, and the best time to pull over. That Tuesday, around 10 p.m., fatigue started to hit hard. I opted for a Travel Centers of America stop near the border of Georgia, known for being well lit and having security. I pulled in, parked my silver rig in the furthest rest area from the main building, but still visible to traffic on the highway, a habit I've always followed for peace of mind. I released the air pressure from the tires, made a black coffee that tasted like water, and called my wife, the usual routine. We agreed I'd call again the next morning, as soon as the sun rose. I turned off the cab lights around 11 p.m., feeling the weight of the day. I was exhausted, but I felt secure. The sound of my truck's engine idling was a comforting noise. The only thing that seemed even slightly odd was seeing, a little further down, an old Scania G-Series with worn paint and no visible plates parked there. The engine was running, a low rumble, but no lights were on. I figured the driver was maybe sleeping or doing an urgent repair, nothing to lose sleep over. Around 11:45 p.m., sleep began to give me a break. A low, mechanical, rhythmic noise penetrated the quiet of the cab. It was a familiar sound, the rumble of a diesel engine, but it seemed absurdly close, closer than my own truck. I felt a chill crawl up my spine. The noise stopped. A heavy silence settled, breaking the monotony of my Scania's idle. Then I heard it. A light, metallic dragging coming from the back of my trailer, as if something heavy and rough was being scraped against the metal right beneath the cab. My heart leaped. I grabbed my phone, the screen trembling in my hands, and turned on the flashlight. The dim light could barely pierce the dense darkness. I looked for anything along the side, but nothing. My phone's battery was at an alarming 15%. Sweat started to trickle down my forehead. Suddenly, the sound moved. It came from the passenger door. A tap. Light, but persistent. It wasn't a normal knock. It was as if something was being pressed against the glass, lightly, but with contained force. I hesitated, but curiosity and fear propelled me to peek through the tiny gap in the curtain. The silhouette was tall, motionless, standing exactly there, outside. It didn't move, didn't speak, just was there. A cold, invasive presence. I started to tremble uncontrollably. This didn't feel like a common robber looking for a cell phone. Why wait there, motionless? Why that deathly silence? The tap on the glass repeated, a little firmer this time, like a macabre invitation to look. I could feel the faint vibration through the door. I froze, my mind blank, my body in a state of total alert. What did he want? What was the plan? The uncertainty was almost as terrifying as the presence itself. The tap on the passenger door intensified, a constant pressure, as if someone was leaning their body weight against the glass. The curtain gave way a little, revealing a fragment of a thick, black glove. My heart hammered in the silence. A metallic click sounded. The door latch was yielding. The door began to open, creaking. A tall, slender silhouette invaded the cab. A man dressed in black with a dark fabric mask, only his cold, fixed eyes meeting mine. The smell of diesel and something foul invaded the air. In his right hand, my own work knife. He knew what I had. He was testing me. A hoarse whisper broke the silence. "You shouldn't have stopped here." The voice was the same as from my CB radio. He knew my name. He knew my destination. At that moment, the sound of another truck approaching and braking sharply broke the tension. The distraction was my chance. With a desperate surge, I threw my body against the driver's door, flinging it open with a bang. I ran out. The newly arrived Volvo FH looked at me, confused. The aggressor hesitated, surprised. I heard the tires of his old Scania screech on the asphalt as he accelerated, disappearing into the night. I stood there, trembling, the smell of diesel and fear enveloping me. The Volvo driver got out, concerned, but I could only think of the knife he held, and the voice that knew my name. He didn't rob me, he threatened me, and he vanished. I ran to the other driver, stammering a request for help. He, an older gentleman named Osvaldo, gave me a cup of water and calmed me down. I called the State Highway Patrol, shaking. The patrol car arrived in 40 minutes. I recounted everything: the parked truck with no plates, the sounds, the invasion, the mask, my knife in his hand, the radio voice, the escape. The officer took notes, asked standard questions. Did he take anything? Did you recognize him? Are you sure it wasn't a dream? I showed him the spot where the door gave way, where the knife had been. The old Scania had vanished. He said, "We'll file a report, but with no plates, no identification, it's difficult. And these cases of intimidating drivers happen. Sometimes it's a bad prank, sometimes it's a load dispute." He gave me a paper with the incident report number and said it would be investigated. The next day, in Miami, I sought professional help to deal with the trauma. The therapist had me record all the details. It was then that, while researching online about parked trucks with no plates and strange encounters on I-95, I found a truckers' forum. Similar accounts began to surface. An old Scania truck, engine always running, acting intimidatingly at isolated rest stops, always on night shifts, in certain specific regions of Georgia and Florida. Some spoke of masked individuals, others of notes left behind. No arrests, no explanations, just shared fear. The police never contacted me about the report. The helplessness was total. Since that night, my sleep has never been the same. Every engine noise, every truck that pulls up beside me on the road makes me relive the terror. I've installed extra cameras in the cab and on the trailer, and an additional security lock on the passenger door. I always sleep with my phone within reach, the flashlight on. I check my mirrors every minute. The work knife? It's stored in a locked box at the back of the closet. It reminds me that danger has no reason, no explanation. That man, the mask, the voice, they could be out there now, somewhere, waiting.